Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Ordinary Council meeting for the 25th of November 2025. First item on the agenda, item 1, is interim chairperson. Section 25(3) of the Local Government Act 2020 states that the election of the Mayor must be chaired by the Chief Executive Officer and be conducted in accordance with the governance rules. Chapter 2 of Council's governance rules further steps out the process for the election of the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor, including the requirement for the CEO to preside at the election of a councillor to the office of Mayor. The elected Mayor will then preside over the election of the Deputy Mayor. The Chief Executive Officer will assume the role of interim chairperson to deal with items 2 to 9.1.2 of this agenda. Item 2 on the agenda, recording and live streaming of council meetings. All council meetings are filmed with both video and audio being recorded. Video is focused on a specific area, however audio from the entire room is captured. In common with all narrative during council meetings, verbal responses to congratulations, obituaries and questions times will not be recorded in the written minutes. By submitting a question, you consent to your question being read aloud at the meeting. The reasoning behind recording council meetings is to hold us more accountable and to improve transparency of council's decision-making to our community. The full meeting is being streamed live on council's YouTube channel, which is Alpine Shire Council, and will also be available on the YouTube channel shortly after this meeting. Item 3 on the agenda, acknowledgement of traditional custodians and recognition of all people. I ask you all to stand, please. Alpine Shire Council acknowledges the Taungurung peoples as the traditional owners of the lands on which we are meeting today. Council also acknowledges all of the traditional owners of the wider lands of the area known as the Alpine Shire. We also acknowledge those people who have contributed to the rich fabric of our community and strive to make wise decisions that will improve the quality of life for all. Thank you. Item 4 on the agenda is the confirmation of minutes. Ordinary Council meeting M10 held on the 28th of October 2025. The recommendation in front of me is that the minutes of M10 28th October 2025 as circulated be confirmed. Please could I have a mover and a seconder for this? Councillor Byrne moving, Councillor Anderson seconding. Councillor Byrne, would you like to speak to this?
Business as usual, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson, would you like to speak to this? Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? In that case, we'll put it to the vote. Councillors, raise your hands if you're in support of the motion as presented. Moved unanimously. Item 5 on the agenda, apologies. I have no apologies to announce this evening. Item 6 on the agenda, obituaries and congratulations. I'm going to start from my left, Councillor Anderson.
Yes, I'd just like to congratulate the Melbourne Demons. Just last night they came to Pioneer Park and ran a workshop or drills and things for the kids of the area between 5 and 12. It was a really good turnout. We had about between 40 to 50 odd kids go to that event, and it was the full Demon squad from what I understand, which was a really good turnout. So thanks again to AFL North East for organising that event.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Byrne?
Nothing for me.
Thank you. Councillor Graham?
Nothing, no.
Councillor Nicholas?
Yep, I have a couple of things. I wanted to congratulate the Upper Ovens Valley Landcare Group for their Threatened Species Day that they held on Sunday at Mount Buffalo. It was fully subscribed and it was an absolutely fantastic day, exploring what can be done to help protect threatened species. And also I'd like to congratulate the Sustainable Upper Ovens Group, who are currently running a battery information event at the Bright Brewery, and apparently that's pretty well subscribed to. There's people from all over the Shire turning up to find out about home batteries. So well done to both those groups.
Thank you, Councillor Nicholas. Councillor Ronco?
Yes, so this weekend I went to the Northeast Emergency Expo held at the Muttleford Showground, and I just would like to thank and congratulate all the emergency authorities who participate to this great event. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ronco. Councillor Smith? No, nothing from me. Councillor Tansen?
Yep, so I'd like to congratulate a couple of locals from Mount Beauty, Megan and Josh New, for hosting their first Remembrance Day ceremony. Now the new president and secretary of the RSL, they're doing a pretty great job, and they're always on the hunt for new veterans to be a part of the RSL there. The other congratulations I'd like to mention is an ex-local, my age, I was actually in his class, Billy Cootie, for just being drafted into the Sydney Swans. So pretty big effort from him, and that's all from me.
Thank you, Councillor Townsend. Item 7 on the agenda is declarations by councillors of conflict of interest. Now, we have had 2 declarations this evening, which I'll share with you. So councillors Ronco and Byrne have declared a conflict of interest in relation to item 9.2.1 on the agenda, which is titled Supporting the Porepunkah Community and Alpine Region. And the reason for that declaration is their involvement in chambers of commerce and also involvement in local businesses. Could I ask the councillors whether there are any other declarations of conflict of interest that they'd like to share at this point in the meeting? None at this point in time. I'd like to remind councillors, if, as we proceed through the meeting, you identify that you do have a conflict of interest, please let me know, or let the mayor know at that time as the chairperson, and we can take appropriate action. Thank you very much. Item 8 on the agenda is public questions. I'd like to start public questions by following up on 2 questions that we received at the council meeting on the 28th of October, and which we were unable to answer at that time, and which we took on notice. And these were 2 questions we've received from Mr. Ray Dyer, and I acknowledge Mr. Dyer's presence in the audience here this evening. So the first question I'll read out. Last month, I asked for a written copy of the minutes. There's no record of question time whatsoever. As far as I'm concerned, if there's no record of question time, it's not true minutes and starts to be no accountability. I'm asking the Mayor, Sarah Nicholas, what's going on. The other thing is the state government, it's written in their laws that anybody that asks for a question time, the minutes of the meetings, they're entitled to it. So I'll ask again for this meeting that I'd like the question times and the minutes of the meeting filled out correctly next month, being the 25th of November. So I'd like to respond to that question from Mr. Dyer at last meeting and say we've looked into this following Mr. Dyer's request, and this isn't the first time that Mr. Dyer has put this request into council. Council follows the governance rules that have been adopted by council, and those governance rules allow council to proceed with recording the council meeting so that there's a record made available verbatim of the comments and the responses, but there's no requirement in those governance rules for council to be recording those responses to questions on notice. So essentially council is complying with its own governance rules. Council does put forward the governance rules periodically for review, and whenever those governance rules come up for review, there's an opportunity then for the community to have feedback into those, to assist Council in making any changes which are necessary. But at this stage, I can report back to Mr. Dyer, we are following Council's governance rules in this regard. The second question we got was also a question from Mr. Dyer, which we were unable to respond to at the last Council meeting. And I'll read this one out. The other issue is the trees that have been cut down in Myrtleford. For the last year and a half, I've asked last month, and I've asked previous 2, that I'd like a copy and a photograph, reasons why those trees were cut down. Now, I'll change it a little bit this month. Instead of just the Myrtleford area, I'd like to know how many trees have been cut down in the Alpine Shire for the last year and a half, and the reasons why, and photographs of all of them. This should all be documented and photographed. If there's a problem, I'd like to know about it. So that was the question. We were unable to respond to that question at the last meeting. We took it on notice. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to pass that across to Director Assets Sarah Buckley and ask Sarah if she could respond to that question.
Thank you, Mr. Jeremy, and thank you to Ray Dyer for the questions. So worth noting, first of all, is that this afternoon we supplied Ray with some specific tree reports of 2 trees he was interested in. Firstly, near Myrtleford Splash Park on Lewis Avenue. report complete with photographs and reasons for removal. And the second tree at the Coles car park in Myrtleford, again, the report details the tree, a photograph of the tree and why it was removed. It's also worth noting that Council previously supplied information on the 19th of March 2024 for trees at Jones, Prince Street, Myrtleford Showground, Myrtleford Piazza, Clyde Street and Dark Park, and also on the 26th of August 2024 at the Showgrounds, Old Scout Hall, Prince Street and Coles car park again. Council at this point in time thinks it is unreasonable to supply every single tree from the previous 18 months due to the significant amount of time that it would take to determine every tree and send those reports. However, we do think it's fair and reasonable to provide Mr Dyer with any specific report that he requires on any specific tree, and happy to do so.
Thank you, Director Assets. I'd like to open the floor to the councillors at this point. You've heard the officer's responses to those two questions from Mr Dyer. I'd like to ask whether you have anything that you'd like to add to those responses from the councillors. Thank you. I'll now move on to the questions that we've had. Mr Dyer, we'll have an opportunity for questions from the floor. Perhaps you could use that opportunity if you'd like to provide. Why don't we wait for that opportunity? Let's hear what you have that you'd like to put forward to the team, and then we'll respond to it at that point if we can, Mr Dyer, if we could. We've got some people who submitted questions in advance of the meeting. I'd like the opportunity to run through them and be able to provide a response, and then we'll provide an opportunity for you to come up to the stage. Thank you, Mr Dyer. First question we received was from Robert O'Connor. I'd like to acknowledge Robert's in the meeting tonight. Thank you for coming along this evening. This was a question submitted on the 12th of November, and I'll read out the question. Since the bushfire place of last resort has been moved from the Mount Beauty Sports Stadium to the Lespert Oval, will the ratepayers be required to repay the $203,200 grant that Totally Renewable Energy Kiwa was successful in procuring from the Bushfire Recovery Fund to supply solar panels, batteries and a generator for the sports stadium? The grant application specifically states that the grant was applied for to provide residents with lighting and power in the sports stadium in case of a power failure when it is needed as a bushfire place of last resort. I believe it is not ethical of the council to retain the items supplied through the grant if the BPLR is moved. If that is the case and the council intend to repay the grant monies to the Bushfire Recovery Grant so that they can be later used in an area which will support the public during a bushfire, will the council require the ratepayers to fund the repayment, or will you be able to provide repayment in some other way? Thank you, Robert O'Connor. I'd like to pass that across to Director Corporate and Community Natalie Cook for a response.
Thank you, Mr Jeremy, and thank you for submission of your question. Council will not be required to repay that grant funding. The stadium remains an important community asset and will serve a critical role during emergencies. It is one of several sites in the Shire assessed as a potential evacuation and emergency relief centre. In an emergency, an incident controller may activate the stadium to provide essential support for individuals, families and communities during and after an emergency event. The stadium could also be activated as a community resilience hub to provide assistance to the community during storms, which result in widespread power outages. The bushfire place of last resort is exactly that. It is a last resort when all other plans have failed. It is separate from an emergency centre or an emergency relief centre. It is not a guaranteed safe place. Should you attend to a bushfire place of last resort, you must understand it is not a guaranteed safe space. The safest plan is to leave early. If anyone chooses to stay and defend their property, they must be fully prepared to remain at their property during that time. The stadium is not a bushfire place of last resort and shouldn't be considered a primary option for evacuation for older residents or those needing extra assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cook. The second question we had submitted in advance was from Kitty Knapstein, which was submitted on Thursday, the 13th of November. The question states the following. Many local government councils have successfully introduced cat curfews Is Alpine Shire Council considering doing the same? As an example, I've included Surf Coast Council's cat curfew fact sheet. Thanks, Kitty Napstein. I'll hand that across to you again, Director Cook, if you could provide a response.
Thank you very much to Kitty, and we thank her for submitting those documents, which we will review with interest. We will shortly be undertaking a review of our domestic animal management plan. One outstanding action in the current plan is to investigate the introduction of a cat curfew, and this is an action that we're going to carry forward to the next plan.
Thank you, Director Cook. The third question we received was from Helen Meggs and David Blackman, and we received that yesterday, Monday the 24th of November. The question reads, Dear Alpine Shire Council, the Harrietville Community Forum supports the recommendation that Tavaray Park in Harrietville be commissioned as a bushfire place of last resort. Our community, as the Council is aware, is unhappy that our community hall is not being recommissioned. However, the Harrietville Community Forum understand that Tavaray Park has been approved by the CFA. Our question is, what communication will the Council now undertake to inform the Harrietville community of this change, and what support does the Council provide in the event of a bushfire emergency to those people who have sheltered in Tavaray Park? David Blackman, Chair, Harrietville Community Forum. Thank you, Director Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Jeremy. Some of the answer I provide here is going to sound a little repetitive, but it's really important that we understand the difference between a bushfire place of last resort and an evacuation centre or an emergency relief centre. So upon designation, should that report be approved tonight, of BPLR, the BPLR will be published on the CFA and Council's websites, and signage will be erected in accordance with the CFA requirements. We will also update our social channels, and BPLR locations will form a part of any community consultation or education programs undertaken ahead of this bushfire season. During an incident evacuation, direction could be provided through an incident controller, and in a bushfire, the incident controller is always the CFA. In this event, the incident controller might direct that a designated emergency relief centre is set up and communicated to the community. The locations of emergency relief centres where people evacuate to are determined based on the circumstances of the emergency at that time. So this is different from a BPLR or bushfire place of last resort. At an emergency relief centre, support and amenity is provided to people who evacuate there. A bushfire place of last resort provides no support or no guarantee of safety. Emergency services may not be at that location, and there is no amenity provided at a bushfire place of last resort. A bushfire place of last resort should only be used as an absolute last option. Travelling to a bushfire place of last resort could be more dangerous than staying at home as the fire actively passes through the location. We encourage community members to make themselves familiar with the purpose of a bushfire place of last resort, which is to be in a place if the fire is actively moving through that location and you have chosen not to evacuate. To develop a bushfire survival plan, we encourage everyone to go onto the CFA website and access the resources that are there. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cook. We've had 3 questions submitted in advance of the meeting. The officers have provided responses to those 3. I'd like to open the floor to the councillors to see if there's any additional context or questions they'd like to provide. So just to remind you, we had a question from Robert O'Connor, which related to the Mount Beauty Sports Stadium grant. We've had a question from Kitty Napstein, which relates to cat curfew, and we've had a question from Helen Meggs and David Blackman, which relates to the Tavaray Park being commissioned as a bushfire place of last resort. Councillors. Councillor Nicholas.
Yes, I'd like to ask Ms Cook about some information that she shared with us earlier about the CFA messaging being taken on statewide to talk about exactly what we've just been talking about, the difference between a relief centre, an evacuation centre and a bushfire place of last resort.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'm the Council's representative on a regional emergency management planning committee, which actually met last week. And this is a planning committee that involves all of the local government organisations plus every one of the state emergency services and support agencies. So it's a very large committee. At that committee, I raised the issue of the requirement for more community education around the purpose of a BPLR as opposed to an evacuation or an emergency relief centre and what is provided at a BPLR, and also the way that the community would be expected to use a BPLR. Because I know just from my interaction with emergency services over the last few months, which is I'm quite new to this space, over the last few months, that there is an expectation of a way the community member might use a BPLR should they be in the unfortunate position of having to use one, which requires people necessarily to be in a car or to be in a certain location, and how they may keep themselves safe in that location as the fire burns through that particular location, which is the purpose of a BPLR. The BPLR is somewhere to be with the active passage of a bushfire if you are caught at a BPLR. So I raised this issue. It was supported by a number of councils in the room that said they're having similar challenges with actually the education component and the understanding of where the BPLRs are, for one, the purpose of them, and then how a community member is expected to use them should they be in that unfortunate position. That was raised at the committee, and the committee has taken it on as an action to raise it at state level to understand if there can be some state level agency communication across Victoria to better communicate the use of a BPLR.
Thank you, Ms Cook.
Could I ask if there are any further questions, clarification or comments from the councillors on the questions received in advance?
Yeah, just building on that question, Director Cook, what are other local governments sort of doing? Are they moving in the same sort of areas, the Alpine Shire, so moving to ovals rather than using buildings as BPLRs?
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. I haven't asked that question specifically. However, all local government areas are required to undertake risk assessments in accordance with the CFA risk assessment guidelines, and the CFA undertakes those, assesses those against their guidelines prior to approving us to put forward a BPLR for commission. So I haven't specifically asked, done a review of other local government areas. However, we're all following the same guidelines with regard to the fire mapping, the assessments of radiant heat. So one of the things that determines whether or not a BPLR may be suitable is the actual assessment of the vegetation around a BPLR and the likelihood of how hot that will get in a bushfire and whether anyone at the BPLR could survive the heat of the bushfire. That is one of the key assessment processes. So all local government areas are required to use the same assessment process.
Any further input, councillors? Thank you. That's all the questions we've received in advance of the meeting. We're now going to move to taking questions from the floor. If you'd like to come forward to the lectern, state your name and your location, you're able to ask 2 questions of the councillors and council officers. Rob, thank you.
Thank you. Following up on my question previously, with relation to the new function of the Mount Beauty Stadium, is it possible to get documentation as to what that role will be for the Mount Beauty Fire Brigade? And as part of that, that the Shire undertake to not only keep the key for the stadium at the fire station under security, but in the future, if any locking systems are changed, to be sure to renew that key so that it is functional at the time. That's about it.
Thank you. And for the record and the listeners, I'll just confirm that's Rob O'Connor who asked a follow-up question, and I'd like to direct that, if I could, to Director Cook to respond.
Thank you, Rob. I can definitely take that on notice and work with the team about how we would work through that with you. Not a problem.
Further questions from the floor, please.
Mary Pike from Toowoomba South. As a presenter on Alpine FM, I work with the opportunity shops within this our broadcast area, which means the shops here in Brighton, the ones in Mount Beauty. Unfortunately, not Myrtleford because they're not in our listening area. And in discussing with all of these shops, I'm surprised to find that with the fantastic work they're doing, recycling and putting a massive amount of money back into the community, it must be over hundreds of thousands of dollars by now, that if people dump rubbish on them, because not everything comes in that's saleable, they have to take it to the tip and they have to pay the tip fees, which is taking away some of their funding. I think it would be a great thing for the Shire to forgive the tip fees for these few shops. I know there'd be some difficulty in monitoring it, but I'm sure there would be a simple way of getting over the monitoring of it, and it would make a fantastic impression on those volunteers who work in those facilities.
Thank you, Mary, for that suggestion. I'd like to pass that across to Director Buckley, who has responsibility for waste management within Council's organisation, and see whether Sarah has a response to that.
Thank you, Mr Jeremy, and thank you, Mary Pike, for the comment/question. It's been something that we've been looking at for quite some time. The reason in the past that we have had a policy not to do that has been around people will then dump even more, seeing it as a free an opportunity for free dumping of waste that will increase if we provide it as a free service. Now, that's not to say we can't look at it again. I can certainly have our waste team investigate it, but that's certainly the historical reason why we haven't done it in the past. Word gets out and then everyone starts dumping their rubbish there, and we've got to get it to the transfer stations. Yep.
Was it kept in-house?
Possibly, yep. So I'll get our waste coordinator to have a look at that.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, Director Buckley. Further questions from the floor, please. Thank you. Mr Pike.
Keith Pike, Taronga South. Look, this concerns the stadium again. We're just looking at the work that's going to be done on St Albans Hall to make it, and I might have this wording wrong, an energy resilience hub. Is that correct? It would appear to me that the stadium is already an energy resilience hub and could be made more so if funding were available in the future. The designations get to be a bit interesting. I mean, in what sense then, my question, is St Albans intended to be an energy resilience hub? Is that different from a refuge? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Pike. Could I pass that across to Director Buckley to respond, please?
Thank you, Mr Jeremy. Thank you, Mr Pike. I'm not 100% sure of the answer to that one. I do know that as part of the application, it was termed Energy Resilience Hub as part of the grant. I think there is a difference between the two, but I'll come back to you on that and take that on notice and provide you with the two definitions.
Thank you, Director Buckley. I wonder whether Director Cook, if you could just provide some clarity from your understanding of those definitions as well.
Thank you, Mr Jeremy. And you're right, there are a lot of different terms and they are confusing. So there are a number of terms in emergency management that have a specific legislative functions. So a refuge was one of the ones that someone said. A refuge has a specific term, and we don't actually have any fire refuges in the Shire. They're a very high-level flame-resistant building that needs to be specifically built and commissioned. So that's what a fire refuge is. An evacuation centre, an emergency relief centre has a specific function during an emergency. So it gets activated during an emergency. It's been pre-assessed as potentially suitable, but it's activated depending on what the emergency is. So you're not going to activate a relief or emergency area where it potentially could be in the path of a fire, for example. You don't want to evacuate people where it maybe isn't safe or where the incident controller can't tell what's happening with the fires or where it might move to. So they tend to choose emergency relief centres further, where out of the path of a fire, obviously. So a resilience hub is not a legislative function. A resilience hub means that where there's a building, so this is separate from the stadium potentially, although it could be used as a resilience hub. It doesn't need to be used within a legislative framework during an emergency, but it's a building where potentially there are things in there that we could make it an area that would be more resilient for community use. So if it has batteries and generators, that means that you could have it cooled potentially. So if you had a heat wave, you could potentially open it up for people to go and be in there where it's guaranteed to be nice and cool. If there's a long power outage, and you also have requirements for, I don't know that hall in particular, but if you have requirements for showers or food or using a kettle and using a toilet and there's a power outage or something, it's to help the resilience of the community. If there's a storm event where, you know, it's impacting on the community, but it's not a declared emergency where an incident controller might declare a particular building a particular function, it can be just used as a community building for the resilience of the community. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of terminology and they all mean very different things. Yeah.
Thank you, Keith, and thank you, Director Cook, for your response. Further questions from the floor, please.
Good evening. My name's Ray Dyer and I reside at Nug Nug. Now, the trees, I'm not happy with the paperwork I received because, as I said, roughly 150 trees and there's only half a dozen trees, descriptions and everything else that the paperwork is what I've got. I also asked last month, because it's taken nearly 3 months to get the paperwork to this stage, that I would like to see the copy of all the trees in the Alpine Shire. Maybe, just maybe, that not only Myrtleford are getting all the trees cut down, maybe other parts of the Shire too. And I was told that, no, we can't do that. It's too much paperwork. It takes hours and hours and hours. Well, it should be documented. And it won't take too much to get the documentation on the trees. It should be in a book. And that's been ongoing for years and years and years. Now, the question I have is the condition of the Great Alpine Road on the Myrtleford side of, the Wangaratta side of Myrtleford, and my words cannot describe how disgusting those trees are. The sight vision going around those corners to Wangaratta, just out the 80k and the 60k zone. I know you look after the 60k zone and Vic Rose looks after the 80k zone and everything else, but you mow right up to the 80k and past the 80k zone. Those trees, if they're left like that, I know of 5 people being killed in that stretch of road over the last 25 to 30 years. And the condition of those trees at the moment with the sight vision going around the corners so the traffic can see what's coming around the corners is absolutely ridiculous. It's not only the trees out on the Great Alpine Road with the approaches to the town, it's also on the bright side, Yak Road and also Buffalo River. I see a big pin oak was taken out that was 3 or 4 foot in diameter. It got storm damage the other day and it was taken out. One on the highway also, on the Wangaratta side. And if those trees are left like they are, the same as the poplars, and I've spoken to you, Will, about this. The first time I spoke to you, I think I spoke to you about the trees before I even spoke about the toilets. And I won't start on the toilets at the moment. But those poplar trees need under pruning and opened up the same as all the trees with the suckers underneath them. So they grow better, a lot more air through the trees, and they, cosmetically, they look fantastic when the avenue of trees are pruned and everything else. At the moment, it's an absolute disgrace, and I'd hate to see it not done before Christmas. Now, the second question I have, we are voting for the Mayor tonight and the Deputy Mayor. Well, my opinion of what I've seen over the last 12 months and since 2016, with both of you, you come about 2016, Will, as the Manager of Assets, and Sarah, you come as a councillor. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'd like to talk to the next Mayor and Deputy Mayor as to the actions of the CEO and the previous Mayor. If you're Mayor this time, Sarah, I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, I'll be pushing for both Will to be stood down and you to be sacked and you to be stood down for 6 months. There's no accountability. Now, can I, with the next Mayor and Deputy Mayor, have a meeting to discuss those issues? Because I spoke nearly 2 years ago about you with the toilets filled, that you couldn't manage a public toilet and you should stand down. You never spoke to me about it. You've let it slide for 2 years. Well, I was dead serious. I wasn't mucking around. I'm dead serious now. So we'll see who's mayor and deputy mayor, and we'll see what happens. Do we have a council meeting next month, December, or is it Christmas? Can anybody tell me that? Probably that'll be a question too. Because I'll leave it to the new year, and I want to talk to the mayor and deputy mayor, the new ones, about the actions of you, Will, and also you, Sarah, on many issues, not just the trees, the roads, the toilets, my electric bike, and I could keep going on and on and on.
Mr. Dyer, if I could, thank you very much for sharing feedback. As always, it's very much welcomed. Why don't we see how this evening plays out through the mayoral election, and then we'll line up an opportunity for you to have a conversation with the mayor, whoever's elected. You can raise the issues that you brought up with us tonight.
I will be, yes.
We really appreciate your feedback. As always, we try our best. I know we don't always hit the mark and deliver what you need, but we're certainly trying to do so.
Well, you talk about accountability, Will, and you're saying that you don't have to supply the minutes of the meetings because it's already auditable. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that's right. You write the minutes up, you write the full amount of minutes, not leaving out question time. That's not right. And if you want to be accountable and write the full question times in with the minutes. You vote on it, so that's how it should be.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Dyer. Further questions from the floor?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kath Healy from the Wandillagong Preservation Society, and I'm here to follow up on our MOU and our funding. In April this year, we were very fortunate to have $10,000 approved by the Shire. However, we're still awaiting the $10,000. The grass at the moment is nearly to my hip. We really need to get it slashed as soon as possible for the Christmas period. I'd love to hear a date we're going to receive the funding and also the MOU. And if we don't receive the MOU in the coming months, perhaps the council might come forward and give us $5,000 to get it slashed. And then the additional $5,000 can come upon assigning the MOU. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kath, for the question. I'm going to pass that across to Director Buckley to provide a response.
Thank you, Mr. Jeremy, and thank you, Kath Healy, for your question, and thank you for your patience. You will have a draft for consideration this week. And I will also be in touch about a few other options for the Preservation Society this week as well, just to discuss what I mentioned in a previous meeting about potential bike path routes, etc.
Thanks for mentioning that. The bike path has become an issue in Wandi amongst the community. There's a lot of confusion. The current plan that was just recently released, the trails and something proposal, the draft,
yep.
If you have a look at the diagrams for Wandillagong, it actually doesn't have any proposed paths there, whether it be through the diggings or through Centenary Avenue. So it's actually quite confusing. So because what's happening is the community is coming to our committee as though we are the decision makers on this, but without having any clear clarification on what the council's goals are for this bike path. We can't give people the correct information, and just the way the Wandi Telegraph works, people are making up stories, and we don't know what to say. So we need clarity on everything to do. But sorry, I will go back to the funding. If you guys can't commit to the 10,000 now, at least give us 5,000 to get that land slashed. It's huge, and it's a huge fire risk. That's my priority at the moment. I don't mind about the bike path.
Thank you, Kath.
Thanks, Will. I hope you take it on board, everyone. But it's really important for public safety.
Further questions from the floor? Okay, if there are no further questions, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is item 9, presentation of reports by officers. So 9.1, Chief Executive Officer Will Jeremy, so that's me. I'm going to present 9.1.1, which is the mayoral term. So the Local Government Act 2020 sets out several requirements for the election of the mayor, including the timing of the election of the mayor and the length of the term. Section 26, Part 1 of the Local Government Act requires the mayor to be elected no later than 1 month after the date of a general election. Section 26(3) further requires council to resolve to elect a mayor for a term of either 1 year or 2 years before electing the mayor. Whether a mayor is elected for a 1 year or 2 year term, the next election of the mayor must be held on a day that is as close to the end of that term as is practicable. It is likely that the election of the mayor will be considered at the relevant November ordinary council meeting, and that is the meeting that we're considering that decision at. Chapter 2 of Council's governance rules further support the requirement to set the term of office prior to electing the mayor. So we move forward. The Chief Executive Officer will call for a motion to set the term of office of the mayor as being either a 1 year or a 2 year term. So the recommendation in front of Council this evening that the term of office of the mayor be set for a duration. Okay, we have a mover here, Councillor Nicholas. Would you like to nominate a duration for the mayoral term?
Yeah, I move that the term of office of the mayor be set for a 1 year term.
Could I ask if I have a seconder for that motion, that the term of the office of the mayor be set for a 1 year term? Councillor Anderson. Councillor Nicholas, would you like to speak to your motion?
I will. I'm often asked around the community why the Alpine Shire sets the term for 1 year, because we have the chance to 2 years and other councils do 2 years. And every councillor group I've worked with has wanted to go for 1 year, so there is a possibility to change if people want to. That's the bottom line, really.
Thank you, Councillor Nicholas. Councillor Anderson, would you like to speak to your seconding of this motion?
Nothing to add.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion that's on the table, which is that the term of office of the mayor be set for a 1 year term? Okay, if there's no further comment, I will take this to the vote. Please raise your hands if you're supportive of the recommendation that the term of the office of the mayor be set for a 1 year term. That's moved unanimously. Item 9.1.2, election of the mayor. And I am wondering, we've got a large audience tonight, whether this is the item that a number of you have chosen to attend for. So the Local Government Act 2020 sets out the requirements for the election of the mayor. Section 25.1 of the LGA 2020 requires the meeting to elect the mayor to be open to the public, which it is this evening. Any councillor is eligible for election or re-election to the office of the mayor. In the council agenda report, we've outlined the role of the mayor. I'm not going to go through that in detail, but it's outlined in section 18 of the Local Government Act 2020. And we've also outlined the specific powers of the mayor, which are in section 19 of the Local Government Act 2020, where the specific powers are outlined. So what I'm going to do is move straight through to the procedural item. We're going to work through the process of electing the mayor. So firstly, I'm going to invite nominations for the office of the mayor from each of the councillors. I'm going to ask for a nomination, and then I'm going to ask for someone to second that nomination, and then finally I'm going to ask the councillor who is nominated, whether or not they accept that nomination. So I will start. Are there any nominations for the office of mayor? Councillor Tansen.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Gareth Graham.
So Councillor Tansen would like to nominate Councillor Graham to the office of mayor. Are there any councillors who would like to second that nomination? Councillor Byrne seconds the nomination of Councillor Graham to the office of mayor. Councillor Graham, I would like to ask whether you accept the nomination for the office of mayor.
Yes, I do.
Councillor Graham has accepted the nomination from the office of mayor. So I'd like to ask the councillors whether there are further nominations for the office of the mayor, just reminding councillors that they are only able to nominate and second one nomination. So I have
Oh, to
I have
nominate.
Councillor Anderson.
Yeah.
You'd like to make a nomination?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Councillor Sarah Nicholas.
Councillor Anderson has nominated Councillor Nicholas to the position of Mayor. Is there anyone who'd like to second that nomination? Councillor Tansen, could I just ask a process question?
Happened last year.
Yeah.
And you can.
Yeah, so I'm just checking that the same person can second both nominations, and I've had that confirmed. So I have a second nomination, which is Councillor Nicholas for the office of Mayor. It's been moved and seconded. Councillor Nicholas, do you accept the nomination as the Mayor?
This is my favourite time of this election. I do.
Thank you. I'd like to ask whether there are further nominations for the position of the office of Mayor. Okay, we have two nominations, being Councillor Graham and Councillor Nicholas. So moving through my notes, I see here that the Chief Executive Officer will invite each councillor nominated in the order that the nominations were received to address the council for no more than 5 minutes. So I'm going to ask Councillor Graham if you would like to address council for no more than 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Jeremy. 12 months ago, 6 fresh-faced councillors joined Councillor Nicholas to form the new Alpine Shire Council for the new 4-year term. We all brought a range of skills and experiences that we had developed over our lives. We undertook significant training to learn what we needed to be able to perform these new roles. We all took on roles in different committees, some internal and some external. Through these experiences, we continued to grow as a collective. So why should you choose me? Since retiring, I have the time to allocate to various interests. I've always been interested in community inclusion, be that Rotary Youth Exchange or Scouts, both of which I devoted significant years to. My reason for being involved in youth is that we need to give our grandchildren a better world than what most of us would have grown up in. There is a number of principles that I live by, and these are not just thought bubbles, but a way of including others and enriching lives. 1, know yourself and seek improvement. Life is a learning experience. Never stop. To this end, I've been accepted into the Alpine Valleys Community Leadership Program for next year, and receiving notification only yesterday. 2, be proficient, be effective in your role, and bring others along to improve the team, while appreciating individual skills. Every contribution is important. 3, seek and accept responsibility. As your Mayor, I would expect honest feedback from all of you to tell me if I waver in my performance. 4, lead by example. Honesty and integrity are important to me, and I hope that they are to you. By cooperating, it enables us to make ethical decisions. 5, provide direction and keep team informed. Communication is more important today than at any other time in history. Decisions must be made with full information, because the alternative is being called out publicly. As Mayor, I will keep you informed to help you fulfil your role as councillor. I also believe the Deputy Mayor role should be more involved in a decision-making role. 6, know and care for people. In my 40 years as a paramedic, this was my main focus. I will continue to care for you, help and encourage you, and in return, I may require the same from you. After all, I'm still human. 7, develop the potential for your people. I want you to be your best so that you may contribute to a well-oiled team. We will assist each other in any way we can. 8, make sound and timely decisions. As we are all becoming more comfortable in our roles and increasing our knowledge base, we will be more efficient in forming decisions based on community needs. Yes, even those difficult ones. 9, build team and challenge abilities. We all should challenge ourselves and each other to grow and excel to make contributions to the team. We have all taken on these challenges just by nominating to be on council. Now we should take the next step. 10, communicate effectively. Difficult conversations are always challenging. I know that sometimes I struggle with public speaking, particularly if I'm unfamiliar with a topic. To help address this, last week I undertook 2 days of media training. We know that we have some financial hard times and decisions ahead of us, but as a team, we will work through this. I still have that focus on improving the customer satisfaction survey that I had 12 months ago. And we remain answerable to our employers, the ratepayers of our community. So the election for mayor is not about egos. So, councillor, please vote for what is best for the Alpine Shire Council and the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. I would now like to ask Councillor Nicholas to address council, and again, with no more than 5 minutes, if you could. Thank you.
Don't start it yet. I've got the thing on. You know what? They only fail when you really don't want them to. Oh, it's going. I've got it now. Thanks. That's the last one. Okay. Thank you for the nomination, everybody. I appreciate and am inspired by your confidence in me and by the many comments of support I've received from across the community over this last year. Thank you for everyone up here with me as well, as the executive and staff, for the terrific effort made during this very intense year of training, meeting a raft of governance, document deadlines, and of course the Papunka tragedy that many are still recovering from. I congratulate my colleagues, my fellow councillors, for how much they have absorbed over the year, and am proud to see application of new skills. We still have a lot to learn, all of us, to become the best councillor group we can possibly be. With my experience, skills and depth of knowledge around civic governance as mayor, I remain able to support further growth, offering guidance, encouragement and insight, and provide feedback. With completion of a majority of the hard and intense work that sets the direction of the Alpine Shire for this term, I'm seeking a second term as mayor, as I believe this is the best outcome for the Alpine Shire, best for the whole municipal community. In the year to come as mayor, I will be able to increasingly bring my political presence and savvy, diplomacy, statespersonship and strong and extensive relationships both within and beyond the Alpine Shire into the role. I am respected and approachable in the community, and engaging and balanced populism and the loudest voices with broad collective outcomes whilst maintaining important relationships, e.g. with our funding bodies, and shaping projects with enduring values with our community. I'm looking forward to driving advocacy for important community matters that we have identified and continue to identify with our community. Advocacy for our communities. Housing, climate concerns, planning reforms, hospitals and other health matters, childcare, aged care and telecommunications spring to mind, not to mention the capacity to maintain and improve our community infrastructure. So I think we're going to be really busy. Other aims for the year include inspiring action to better position the Alpine Shire as future ready, reflecting the increasing uncertainties and changing landscapes across the business of local government, getting better prepared for economic and environmental shocks that we know will come and we know will trouble our communities. I have a passion to improve the understanding of civic process across the Shire and how decisions are made, as I believe that increased awareness will help our communities to contribute and will improve our reputation. I also have a passion to listen to the vision, ideas and concerns of our communities and community members through reaching out with my fellow councillors as they choose and engaging above and beyond the exceptional community engagement that our organisation already delivers around specific topics. I will encourage community cohesion and encourage more people to contribute to council in constructive ways. These forward-looking opportunities require the gravitas and sincerity that the role of mayor can provide. So I urge my colleagues again to make the best decision for the Alpine Shire as a whole. This decision tonight isn't about someone having a go. It's not about change for change's sake, a mayor can make a difference to our people's lives and livelihoods. The decision you're about to make is about supporting a strong, experienced mayor to continue to deliver for our whole community. Indeed, many community members have been saying to me in the lead up to tonight's election, we have just had enormous change with 6 new councillors and we need consistency and stability. We need to have you, your leadership, experience, compassion and astuteness in the mayor's role. I bring with me my values of integrity and courage, and I again ask my fellow councillors to support me tonight in my bid to become a mayor for another year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nicholas. Moving forward, the Chief Executive Officer will now put each nomination to the vote in the order that the nominations were received. So a nomination for Councillor Graham was put forward first, so the vote will be taken on Councillor Graham's nomination. So I'd like to ask the councillors, putting to you a vote to elect Councillor Graham to the office of the Mayor for a 1-year term. Please raise your hands if you're supportive of this nomination. Thank you. So I see 4 votes for, 3 votes against, and I see that there's a majority vote there. Therefore, at this point, I declare Councillor Graham elected to the office of Mayor. We're going to proceed to shuffle chairs. I'm going to invite Councillor Graham to address the audience shortly, and I think what we'll then do is provide an opportunity for anyone who came along this evening specifically to see the mayor election to allow them to move or allow you to sit and continue if you would like to. Congratulations, sir. Thank you. Yeah. This is your seat. Councillor Ronco, if I could jump into that seat there. Yeah.
Oh,
Go over there. Yeah. Yours, I think you can stay.
Oh, I stay?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, Councillor Ronco moves.
Councillor Ronco can move. I'll jump into your seat. Come in here. I'll give Councillor Ronco your badge as well. Bring it over. Councillor Graham's going to come into the hot seat. Yeah. That's yours, is it? That's yours. Right, here we go. I'll do your swap. Who's that? That's Gareth. That's yours, Gareth. Okay. Very good.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to begin by thanking my fellow councillors for showing faith in me. Every councillor has contributed to this last 12 months of this new council term, none more than Councillor Sarah Nicholas, who, using her experience, has guided us through an extensive education phase. And I must also recognise the power of work she put into the Paulpunka incident, liaising with government departments, ministers, and behind the scenes. So, thank you, Sarah. As your new mayor, I don't plan any wholesale changes because that's not completely my role. But I want to lead a team that utilises the unique skills that each of us bring. And as I said before, I want to see the new deputy mayor more involved in decision making. I expect every councillor to contribute to the team, support each other, but call out wrongs that they identify. My leadership style is more relaxed and cooperative. I've been told that sometimes I'm quiet, and that is I'm taking things in, considering them prior to speaking. We know we're heading into financial hard times and need to make some tough decisions. We have benefited from disaster funding, bushfire, flood and landslip in recent years. That's now gone. As a result, we need to be more frugal. We'll be somewhat restricted in lavish community funding, but we will still prioritise you, our community. We are all your representatives. Come and talk to us. Thank you. Okay. This is me now too, isn't it? Yep. Section 9.1.3, Office and Term of the Deputy Mayor. Section 20A of the Local Government Act provides that Council may establish the Office of Deputy Mayor. The LGA 2020 requires Council to establish a term for the Office of Deputy Mayor of either 1 year or 2 years prior to electing the Deputy Mayor. As for the Mayor, the next election of Deputy Mayor must be held on the day that is closest to the end of the term as possible. The election of Deputy Mayor will be considered at the relevant November Ordinary Council meeting today. Where Council chooses not to appoint a Deputy Mayor, it must follow the provisions of Section 20B of the LGA 2020 and appoint an acting Mayor where A, the Mayor is unable for any reason to attend a council meeting or part of a council meeting. B, the Mayor is incapable of performing the duties of the office of the Mayor for any reason, including illness. Or C, the office of the Mayor becomes vacant. Now, do we need to go through this? So, the recommendation is that councils, 1, establish an office of the Deputy Mayor, and 2, the term of the office of the Deputy Mayor be aligned to the term of the office of the Mayor. That is 1 year. Sorry?
Seek a mover and a seconder.
Yes, we've got someone to move that motion. Councillor Ronco. And seconded by Councillor Smith. Councillor Ronco, anything to add?
No, just it's the process. So it's always following the mayor the same term. It's a good approach too. Thank you.
And Councillor Smith? No. Nothing? Any other councillor? Put it to the vote. Those in favour? Carried, unanimous. Okay. I now call for nominations and a seconder for the office of Deputy Mayor in accordance with Chapter 2 of Council's governance rules. Nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Ronco.
Thank you. Councillor Burns nominated. Seconder. No seconder.
Councillor Anderson.
Councillor Anderson, thank you. Councillor Ronco, are you prepared to stand?
I would like to thank Councillor Byrne and Councillor Anderson for nominating me on the role of Shire Deputy Mayor. I accept this nomination. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor?
Nominate Councillor Nicholas.
Councillor Smith nominates Councillor Nicholas. Seconder for the... Councillor Anderson seconds the nomination of Councillor Nicholas. Councillor Nicholas.
Yeah, I'll accept that nomination.
Yes. Thank you, Councillor Nicholas. Any other nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor? No? Okay. So, do they get to speak? They do. 5 minutes or 2?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Okay. Councillor Ronco, you have 5 minutes if you'd like to plead your case.
Yep, thank you. Thank you. Taking on this role will be an honour and, more importantly, a responsibility. This role will be appropriate for my level of experience and perfect opportunity to consolidate everything that I have learned in the past year. After many community engagements, this role will be the next step for me to be closer to my community and to give them more of my presence and more of my time. My focus will always be on listening to residents and encouraging them to get more involved in community decisions regarding our shire. Through extensive community consultation, the Community Vision and Council Plan 2025-2029, including the Municipal Public Health and Wellbeing Plan, will guide us in the coming months. And my focus will be on achieving positive outcomes for our residents. In the role of Deputy Mayor, I will continue to support and work with everyone, including Councillor, Mayor, and Council team. I will also assist the elected Mayor in his daily task. For the year 2025-2026, I'm looking forward to starting our important work to deliver an Alpine Shire Council customer charter that specifies our commitment to residents, including response time and expectation for us and residents. Facing the challenge of the Shire's underlying operational deficit in the future, I will continue to work with everyone on our financial sustainable strategy and bring innovative ideas to secure important funding without reducing the services to our residents. In this term of governance, I would like to improve our communication, our understanding, and our transparency. So let's work together and achieve important outcomes for our Alpine Shire community and residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ronco. Councillor Nicholas.
Well, I have to say I'm not really prepared to speak for Deputy Mayor, but I think what I was talking about before was, speaks for itself, that if I'm not going to be the Mayor, then probably my best role as Deputy Mayor is to support the new Mayor and do what I can to make sure that still we become the best council group we possibly can be and support our people to do the best work they can, because I know they work really hard. And probably don't need to say much else. Do all the things I thought I'd do before, but it's not going to be as easy or as much time.
Thank you, Councillor Nicholas. Vote for all votes. Time. Okay, I put it to councillors. We have two nominations for the role of Deputy Mayor. So, in the order of nominations, all those in favour of Councillor Ronco?
Need to vote.
3. All those in favour of Councillor Nicholas? 2, 3, 4. Congratulations, Councillor Nicholas.
I just asked if I could say words. I tried to sulk and not be part of this. I just can't do it.
Okay, moving back on. 9.1.5, contracts approved under delegation by the CEO. Mr Jeremy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So the recommendation in front of Council this evening is that the capital project contracts approved under delegation by the CEO be noted. I'll just remind councillors the CEO's delegation is $200,000, exclusive of GST. So typically where we award a capital project contract below that value, we bring it to council for transparency and advise council of the tender that's been awarded. So we've got three here tonight. The first is an upgrade to Riverside Park, which is in Porepunkah. The successful tender was McPherson's Earth Moving out of Myrtleford. We budgeted $100,000 for this contract, and the contract was awarded at a value of $90,256.50. That's the first one. Second one, Dinner Plain Tennis Court resurfacing. So the successful tenderer was the Total Sports and Floor out of Albury. Budget that was allocated for this was $60,000, and the contract was awarded at a value of $80,072.12. And finally, the final award was the Asphalt Overlay Programme for 2025-26. The tender was Pavecon out of Albury-Wodonga. We budgeted $133,000 for this contract, and the contract was awarded at $120,942.65. And all three of those contracts were awarded following an RFQ process. So recommendation is in front of council as noted.
Thank you, Mr Jeremy. Do any councillors have any questions for Mr Jeremy?
I'd like to seek a mover.
Oh, sorry. Councillor Nicholas moved. Councillor Smith, second. I'll get the hang of this.
Yep.
Reg.
Questions, do I have anything to say?
Yes.
No, I don't have anything to say about these contracts. They're awarded under delegation.
Councillor Smith?
Yeah, I'm just noticing on all our contracts coming back, it's good that they're coming under budget. Like the first one's 10,000, the second one's 13,000. Obviously, Dinner Plain, I'm assuming that run a little bit over. I'm assuming because of the location of Dinner Plain is why that can be a little bit variance. Can I just get a bit of comment? Are we getting really good, like a lot more people tendering for this business now? Can you give an explanation? Has that changed? It's more competitive, the market now?
Sorry. Through you, Mr Mayor, if I could seek for Director Buckley to respond to that one.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. That's correct. You're correct on both fronts. We're getting many more tenderers applying for capital works at the moment, so it's very competitive. In relation to Dinner Plain being higher, you're accurate in that when we estimated the costs, we didn't take into account the additional costs of it being up in Dinner Plain, which is much more costly because of location.
Other councillors? Councillor
Byrne? Director Buckley, could I ask, Riverside Park upgrade, could you outline what that actually includes for our spend of $90,000, and alternatively as well, the asphalt overlay 25-26 by Pavecon, what is occurring there, please?
Thank you, Councillor Byrne. This is located in Riverside Park in Porepunkah, and it's a slight widening and upgrade of the section that runs down the access road past the toilets and fitness equipment. In addition to that, there's some minor path works and some minor drainage works as well to upgrade that section. In relation to the asphalt overlay, these works are in fact almost completed. They'll be completed this week. That was Island Street, Cobden Street near the roundabout, Wood Street and Walnut Grove, which are all receiving asphalt overlay work.
Councillor Ronco. Thank you. Just for the dinner plan tennis court, what's your fuss? Does this funding come from the Alpine Shire budget or from the dinner plan reserve? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ronco. My understanding, after some advice from Director Corporate, who I might check this with, is that it does come from the dinner plane reserve.
Thank you. Any other councillors? No.
Yeah, just a quick one. So if we come in under budget, what happens to the money that we don't use?
Thank you, Councillor Tanzan. If we come in under budget, it goes back into the bucket of council's budget as excess budget for consideration, usually in the forward financial year.
Any other councillor? No. Okay, moving on to...
Take it to a vote. Yeah.
My apologies.
Skill check.
Like I said, I'll...
Yeah,
Where's the skill check?
That's fine.
We'll take it to the vote then. All those in favour? Unanimous, carried. Yeah, 9.1.6, the schedule of ordinary council meetings for 2026. This report seeks council endorsement of the proposed ordinary meeting schedules for 2026 calendar year. Now, the council endorses the schedule of the ordinary council meetings as listed on, I won't go through those, as listed there. It's the final Tuesday of each month, with the exception of December, where it's the third Tuesday of the month. Locations are primarily in Bright, but there's one in Mount Beauty in March and one in Murderford in May. These may be changed to suit the agenda items, maybe. Okay.
Anyway, take the vote. Take it to get it moved.
Okay, if we can have someone move, Councillor Tanzan to move, and Councillor Anderson second. Councillor Anderson, Councillor Tanzan.
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add. Councillor Anderson.
Just note that a lot of our, obviously for ease of having a meeting here in Bright, we open to having any other meetings if the need arises in other locations.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So thank you, Councillor Anderson, for your question. So we are recommending at this stage that Council endorses this schedule of ordinary council meetings, but the opportunity exists throughout the year to change the location, to change the time and to change the date of this meeting. So they're not set in stone indefinitely. Council can still resolve to change these meetings to adapt to different circumstances. So an example was a circumstance we had this year where Council elected to move one of the meetings into Mount Beauty, where it related specifically to one of the battery energy storage systems. So you have that opportunity throughout next year. Our governance rules requires us to give a certain amount of notice and to communicate to the public in a way which will allow them to understand that the meeting's changed, but definitely the option exists to modify this throughout next year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jeremy. Take it to the vote.
No other question?
Sorry, it's a question.
Yep.
Questions?
Is there an additional cost to running the council meetings if we have them in a different place than Bright?
Thank you, Councillor Nickus, for that question. The easiest meetings for us to facilitate are the ones that occur in this room here, because we have the most technology set up in place. And when we move outside of this location, it becomes more challenging and time-consuming to set up the equipment. So yes, there is an increased cost associated with holding meetings outside this location.
Thank you. Yes, I want to support also what say John. So yeah, maybe later during the year to move some meeting outside this location. Maybe also Port Punkak could be a good place to have a meeting and to reconnect with our community over there. Then thank you.
Any other councillors? No? Okay, we'll take it to the vote. All those in favour as listed? Oh. It's carried. Nine 9.1.7, appointments of councillors to represent council on committees. And boards. So council operates and participates in a range of special advisory and external committees. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So 9.1.7 is the appointment of councillors to represent council on committees and boards. Council operates and participates in a range of special advisory and external committees and groups. Appointment of councillors to the various committees and groups will enable good governance and decision-making for the future for the 25-26 financial year. So the recommendation in front of you tonight is that councillors are appointed as councillors delegate on the following groups and committees. We've listed there the committees that we typically appoint councillors onto, and we open the floor there for council to discuss how council would like to be represented on those committees and groups.
Okay. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to propose that starting on the list on the way down, as well as the Mayor and Deputy Mayor are organised now, the CEO Employment and Remuneration Committee, Mayor, and I suggest that I go on that one and then call for other people who are interested. For the CEO and Employment and Remuneration Committee, yep. So Councillor Nicholas and Councillor
Anderson. You can nominate yourself, nominate yes. Any other?
Just move on.
No, so Councillor Anderson, thank you.
And then go to Alpine Shire Council Audit Committee, yep.
So the next one's down is the Alpine Shire Council Audit and Risk Committee. This last year, Councillor Smith and Byrne were on these committees. Councillor Smith and Byrne, do you maintain interest in this committee?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Very much so. Happy to go on that one again, yeah.
Councillors Byrne and Smith. Any others? Remembering that any councillor can come to these meetings anyway. So thank you. Alpine Children Services Inc. last year has been Councillor Anderson. And Councillor Anderson, are you still self-nominating to this committee?
I'm happy to, unless anyone else would like to take a chance at the role. Or...
Take a chance.
Chance?
Nicely worded. Any other nominations for Alpine Children's? Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Goulburn Murray Climate Alliance. This year it has been myself and Councillor Anderson. We had the AGM just last week, and I'm quite prepared to stand on this committee again. And Councillor Anderson?
I'd like to nominate, I'd like to take part. Thanks.
That's a yes.
Yeah, was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, Alpine Resilience Partnership. This year has been Councillor Ronco.
Yes, I would like to continue my work with the Alpine Resilience Partnerships. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And,
I wouldn't mind jumping on that one as well, if that's right.
okay, thank you, Councillor Townsend. And the last one on our list is North East Local Government Waste and Recovery Forum. Again, I've been on this for the last 12 months, but I'm quite happy for somebody else to take it over if they're keen. If not, I'll continue. Anyone? No? Okay, I'll continue.
Might just throw this question over to Councillor Townsend. Did you want to do the CEO remuneration? Did I step on toes there?
I'm happy to pass that one on if you're happy to take it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have to nominate, we have to,
The names go up.
the names have all gone up.
Yep.
And we have to
And then we
pass them.
move a second.
So we have a mover for all those committees and positions. Councillor Townsend, seconded
Councillor Smith, put his hand up.
by Councillor Smith. All those in favour? Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Speak to the motion.
I was just wondering, throughout the year, are any of these subject to change for any reason? The people on the committees.
Not that I'm aware of, but if someone's decided they, for whatever reason, can't continue on a committee, we can certainly replace them, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Smith?
Yeah, all these committees are very important, but the ones we invite extra people in, the more that come in, the better. So it's really important that we all follow each other's. We give a report on each other's reports and meetings we have. So I think we can do that. It was brought up the other day, but we can do that better, I think, give better reports and better feedback on each meeting we have, which is really important. But yeah, that's all.
Yep, thank you. Taking it to the vote. All those in favour? Oh, sorry, anyone else want to speak?
Just for people in the community to understand, why do councillors take part in these committees, especially ones such as Rural Council Victoria, the Alpine Children's Services, Goulburn Murray Climate Alliance? What's the value in having our councillors in these organisations, and what's that bring back into the council?
Anyone want to talk
So-
about that?
Mr Jeremy?
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. So each one of these committees or groups has a different purpose or function. They typically have a charter which outlines what they're trying to achieve and what is the involvement of the representatives. You talk there, for example, about Rural Councils Victoria. So Rural Councils Victoria is a really strong advocacy body particularly for the rural local government authorities across Victoria, making sure that those local government authorities have a voice at the table, and it's not, essentially has some representation rather than perhaps being overridden by the needs of the Metro Council. So that's a really important body there. But yeah, each one, we've outlined in the report here what some of the key reasons are why council would be involved in those committees, but it's typically to extend your reach and your influence beyond, what's happening within the Alpine Shire, some of these committees.
Thank you, Mr Jeremy. Any other councillors? No? Take it to the vote. Those in favour? Unanimous. Nine 9.2, Director Assets, Sarah Buckley for 9.2.1.
Through you, Mr Mayor, so we had two councillors declare a conflict of interest in relation to this item.
Yes, yes.
It's written.
Yeah, didn't. on your lonesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Director Buckley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 9.2.1, supporting the Paulpunka community in Alpine region. This report provides background information relating to Alpine Shire Council's allocation of funding through the Supporting the Paulpunka Community in Alpine Region package from the Victorian Government. On the morning of Tuesday, the 26th of August 2025, at a rural property in Paulpunka, 2 Victoria police officers were fatally shot and a third officer was seriously injured while executing a search warrant. The incident prompted a lockdown of local schools, kindergartens and childcare centres, the shutdown of council facilities, a public safety alert advising residents to remain indoors, and the closure of Mount Buffalo National Park. Following the shooting, the travel advisories led to a dramatic drop in tourism numbers, with some businesses in Paulpunka, Bright, Harrietville, Myrtleford and Mount Beauty reporting revenue losses of up to 70 to 80%. To mitigate the economic fallout, the Victorian Government announced a $2.5 million support package, and the detail of that is in the report. It's worth noting that a grant of $100,000, which we're discussing this evening, was provided to Alpine Shire Council for them to determine how best to support the community activities and events. Council officers have considered the intent of the funding allocation provided to Council and have nominated the following initiatives to be considered by the Victorian Government for funding. The first is $60,000 dedicated to increasing economic resilience initiatives, detailed in the report. The second is for increasing local tourism of $20,000, also detailed. And lastly, supporting local business economy of $20,000, which is a financial contribution, half to the Mount Beauty Chamber of Commerce and the other half to the Myrtleford Chamber of Commerce, to facilitate a local approach to recovery and resilience. Alpine Shire has a high number of tourism-dependent businesses, and supporting their resilience will help to protect the region's reputation as a safe and reliable destination. Whilst the Bright and District Chamber of Commerce was awarded a grant of $50,000 solely to aid recovery, other chambers of commerce in the Shire did not receive a similar financial support package. Council officers recognise that businesses across the Shire have been impacted by this event and recommend sharing the available support across the entire Shire. It's worth noting the financial and resource implication. This report refers to the unbudgeted income and expenditure of $100,000 allocated to Alpine Shire Council, and the funding must be acquitted this financial year 2025-26. Just in relation to consultation, council officers have undertaken engagement with businesses across the Shire and the 3 chambers of commerce to better understand the impact of the incident on the local business economy. The Victorian Government has identified a need to support the community and business recovery following the incident. As a result, this evening, the recommendation is that Council notes the following recommendations for allocation of the Supporting the Paulpunka Community Alpine Region support package from the Victorian Government to support community activities and events across the Alpine Shire broadly as follows. 1, for increasing economic resilience of $60,000, 2, increasing local tourism of $20,000, and 3, supporting local business economy.
So moved.
Seconded? No. Councillor Townsend? Yep. Councillor Nicholas?
Yep. Some questions, Ms Buckley. You said that the funding had to be acquitted by the end of this financial year. Is that from our coffers, or do the people that we are suggesting will spend it have to acquit it by then?
Thank you, Councillor Nicholas. I'm 98% sure it's from our budget. I will double check that, but I'm fairly certain it's that Council acquits the fund.
Thank you. And my other question is, do we need to do further reporting to the funding body about what happens to the money. So yeah, we have to do, I can't remember what the report's called, but at the end of funding, you say what happened and what the outcomes were, stuff like that.
Yes. Thank you, Councillor Nicholas. We will be required to do milestone reporting and an acquittal report as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Councillor Tansen? Nothing? Any other councillors? No? Take it to the vote to accept this report. Those in favour? No one against? Unanimous as it can be. Can we invite them back, please? .2.2, Director Buckley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to make a note at this point in time that we defer the report as council officers have been made aware of further information they need to consider and will bring a report back to a future council meeting. This is in relation to item 9.2.2, lease of Crown allotments 2011 and 2019 Town of Bright at the Bright Riverside Holiday Park.
Thank you, Director Buckley.
Thank you.
9.3.1, Director Cook.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Item 9.3.1, Bushfire Place of Last Resort Commissioning. This report relates to the finalisation of the review and assessment of a potential site for a bushfire place of last resort in Harrietville and a recommendation to commission that site. At the October 2025 Ordinary Council meeting, Council adopted the Municipal Bushfire Place of Last Resort Plan. This is an operational plan of council which is complementary to the Alpine Shire Municipal Emergency Management Plan and the Northern Alpine Fire Management Plan. The BPLR plan provides clear guidance for the designation, maintenance and decommissioning of BPLRs and gives clarity on the obligations and risk management requirements of council. Following consultation and engagement with the Harrietville community and the CFA, Tavaray Park in Harrietville has been assessed as compliant with the CFA's Neighbourhood Safer Place Bushfire Place of Last Resort Assessment Guide from 2020. The recommendation is that Council endorses the commissioning of one Bushfire Place of Last Resort at Tavaray Park, Harrietville. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cook. Councillors move. Councillor Ronco. And seconded, Councillor Nicholas. Councillor Ronco.
Thank you. Just nothing to add, just that I'm glad that Bushfire Place of Last Resort, Tavaray Park in Harrietville, has been assessed by the authority for the Harrietville community. I think it's very important for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ronco. Councillor Nicholas.
Yep. Just building on what Councillor Ronco said, absolutely, it's terrific that there is a place of last resort in Harrietville, as there's potential that both roads out are blocked or can't go through because of fire. But I also wanted to recognise the input from the CFA around the need as well. We were working on it after the last BPLR report came to the council and really appreciated that support. And they're helping us get to this position, and also from the support from the Harrietville community who understand what we're doing.
Thank you, Councillor Nicholas. Any other councillor? No. Take it to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. 9.3.2, dinner plane event funding round 2. Ms Cook.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Item 9.3.2, dinner plane event funding round 2. This report relates to the recommended allocation of funding through round 2 of Alpine Shire Council's 2025 and 26 dinner plane event funding program. This funding aims to support the delivery of events in dinner plane for the 25-26 financial year. Round 1 of the dinner plane event funding program had opened in May this year. Considering the proximity to the start of the snow season, a second round of dinner plane event funding is generally opened post-snow season to ensure businesses, events, operators and community members can have an equal opportunity to apply. This year, round 2 was open from the 8th of October to November 4th, 2025. 2 submissions were received during round 2, these being the dinner plane sled dog sprint and the dinner plane polo. The applications were assessed by a panel and the recommendation is that council allocates financial sponsorship to the successful applicant being dinner plane sled dog sprint in line with the recommendation in your papers. It is worth noting that the timing of the event payment of $5,000 will be provided in 2 payments, one in this financial year and one of the other next financial year due to the timing of the event. And the recommendation is also that council delegates authority to the CEO to distribute any residual funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cook. Councillors moved. Councillor Nicholas. Councillor Ronco, second. Councillor Nicholas.
Yeah, you're going to be quick to beat me.
Yeah.
Dinner plane's a unique place, as most people know. Having events up there is a wonderful thing. It's terrific that that there's a range of events across the year, and if anybody can get to any of them, they're really worth going to. They're quite different to anything else you could find in the Alpine Shire and, in fact, across most of Australia, and particularly the ones in the winter. They're really sweet, so go for it.
Thank you.
Yep, following what Sarah says, so just wanted to add that this event is really important for our community and especially for the economy of dinner plane and for all of Shire, so attracting more people and it's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ronco. Any other councillor? Councillor Anderson.
I guess, will these applicants be notified?
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Yes, the applicants will be notified of the outcome
After
of the
this
assessment.
meeting? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other councillor? Okay, take it to the vote. Those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Unanimous. It's hard to see you in the corner.
Yeah, not it. See you. Happy travels.
Point.
Sorry, she isn't getting on to the
Okay.
vote tomorrow.
Point 10, informal meetings of councillors. Is that you, Mr Jeremy?
No, you just...
Mr Mayor, it certainly can be. So
Okay.
in accordance with Chapter 8, Section A1 of Council Governance Rules, if there's a meeting of 3 or more councillors for the purposes that are outlined there, then we're required to provide a summary of those matters discussed at the meeting at the next convenient council meeting.
Recommendation.
Admin.
Seconded by Councillor Anderson.
Councillor Nicholas.
Yep, it's a list of the things that we've been doing to become, using the council processes to become informed, and I think it's really good that they're in the paper.
Councillor Anderson. Nothing to add. Any other councillor? No. Okay. All those in favour? 7. Yeah, it's very much an administrative procedure. Okay. Section 11, general business. I don't believe there is any.
There you go, and you
with
are,
the
you
option, start from the left and...
Oh, my apologies.
Where have you been, all the council meetings you've been to?
Councillor Anderson.
No.
No. Councillor Byrne.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Nothing there. Councillor Ronco.
Yes, of course, I have one. I just would like to remind our community and residents that last month's draft, the Alpine Shire Community Infrastructure Need Assessment 2025, the Alpine Shire Track and Trail Master Plan 2025, and the Alpine Shire Aquatic and Indoor Stadium Feasibility Study 2025 are still open for submission until the Sunday 4th of January 2026 via Engage Alpine website. They are very important documents for us, Councillor and Shire team, to understand our community needs and plan for the future of our Shire. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ronco. Councillor Nicholas?
No, nothing to add tonight.
Nothing to add. Councillor Smith? No. No. Councillor Townsend? No. And I've got nothing. Section 12, motions which notice has previously been given. Nothing there. Presentation of reports by delegates. Councillor Ronco.
Hi, so I have here the subcommittee report of Alpine Resilience Partnership meeting held the Wednesday 5th of November 2025 at the Mutterford Tennis Club. This meeting was well attended. We plan next year committee meeting with 5 video conference ability. A representative of Place-Based Capital Project gave us an update about raising some funding for critical community infrastructures, non-Shire assets. We will need to identify which community infrastructure will qualify for this funding. Alpine Shire officer presented an update for us on the Gravel Road Telecom project. Another Alpine Shire officer addressed my concern regarding the 72 program communication with a community in Dedorang. This community has been already contacted. We will continue to engage with our community and communicate the detail of the 72 hours program. We will explore the possibility for better use of the Alpine Shire 72 hours program video. VicPol representative present their report. And we have an update on the Loop website, and we are still struggling to get updated information from agency as they are facing budget cuts, especially with their communication officer. Every other agency presented their report, and I gave up an update on our last ordinary meeting and the various BPLRs. I reassure people that we are still engaging with our communities, so as they better understand what a BPLR is and to identify the best place to look at them. Next meeting will be the Monday, 2nd of March, 2026 from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Pavilion in Pioneer Park in Bright. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ronco. Any other councillors with reports? No. I've got a short one from last Thursday. I attended the Goulburn Murray Climate Alliance AGM. It was held in Benalla. I've been re-elected as the deputy chair of that meeting. Mainly a procedural meeting dealing with election of positions, looking at budgets last year and into the future for next year. And we also had a presentation from the new SEC, as it is now, on renewables and converting to electricity from your gas appliances. There's a bit of a conflict there maybe between what the Goulburn Murray Climate Alliance is doing with the solar savers, but I think they will start working together very shortly. At the moment, they've only got one office, which is running out of Morwell, but they're intending to spread out across the state. No other? Yes? No? 14.
The recommendation is superseded. I withdraw the item earlier in the meeting. It's the next item, this one.
Yeah, okay. Okay, item 14 is the recommendation has been superseded and withdrawn, and the item will be discussed at a later meeting. Number 15, reception and reading of petitions. There is none. Section 16 is a confidential report. Mr Jeremy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So recommendation this evening, we do have a confidential report to present to Council, and the recommendation that is in accordance with the provisions of Section 66 2A of the Local Government Act 2020. We're recommending that Council considers this confidential report defined by Section 3 of the Local Government Act, and the basis on which we're asking Council to consider it is that this report contains Council business information, which is information that would prejudice the Council's position in commercial negotiations if prematurely released, and also private commercial information being information provided by a business, commercial or financial undertaking that, if released, would unreasonably expose the business, commercial or financial undertaking to disadvantage. I can share further, just for the benefit of the audience, this relates to a contract negotiation, and that's the reason this is a confidential item that's being asked for Council to consider this out of public session. So recommendation sits with Council.
I'll move that recommendation.
Seconded. Councillor Anderson. Councillor Nicholas.
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add. Councillor Anderson. Nothing to add. Nothing. Nothing. Any other councillors? No. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And through you, Mr Mayor, I recommend that we move to close the meeting at this point in time, and then move to discuss that confidential item once the audience, as it is, has left the chamber.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Jeremy.
All right, they're gone.
Section 17, we're going to close the meeting at 8:51. Thank you for your attendance.
6:51.
Nice try.
18:51? 6:51.